Hey, this is Bryce Johnson from Expedition Bigfoot. You're listening to the Paranomaly Zone.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, ponderers of the paranormal. You have found the Paranomaly Zone, your weekly dose of all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the back to work Mike Carbno. Back to work. How does that feel, my friend? How's that treating you? It's been a while.
It's still out for debate.
With yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Debate myself.
Oh, do that in private.
It's not going as well as I had hoped, but hell, I'm old.
It's making you belch too. So that's good.
Yeah. Diet Coke, it's a little warm. Macy, shut up.
Yeah, Macy hasn't made one noise this whole time we've been talking, and then the moment I press that record button, she's like, "Okay, time to shine." It's amazing.
Yeah, the window is open, and she sees anything go by.
Maybe the window should be shut for a podcast time. But anyways, it is good to see you. It's been almost a week since our chat with Brad Cooney from the House in Between, featured investigator from the House in Between. We hope you all have checked that out.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Easy guy to talk to. Pretty darn interesting films or / documentaries, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, well worth having him back for a second run.
I think so.
He said he would.
Absolutely, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Jericho appearance is now available. That is out for everyone's listening. Opinions. So, mostly positive, but of course there's negative stuff out there. So that's all.
Yeah, I've just seen some really good comments on it and people that have really enjoyed it. And
right.
Yeah.
For the most part, of course, I've had some direct responses to the podcast page and on the Facebook stuff and
stuff that I haven't seen, and some of them are negative.
Yeah, but that's, it comes with the territory. Well, first and foremost, I can't remember his name. I know his first name was Pedro. And Pedro, he kind of had some words of advice for us, Mike. So I'm going to tell you right now, start saving up all of your money, Mike, so we can finally go and do a proper expedition towards the bottom of Loch Ness. Therefore, we'll finally be able to talk about Loch Ness, because according to Pedro, we did not investigate the prison that Ted Bundy was incarcerated at, so therefore we have no credibility. I just wanted to get that out of there.
We had the prison where he was held at.
Yeah, because the security guards, the prison guards said they saw his ghost. We weren't there. We didn't investigate it, so we have no credibility, so we can't talk about it.
Fucking humbug. Jeez.
See,
Sorry about my language, but jeez.
No, we have no credibility, so I just wanted to say that. So thank you. Thank you,
was
Pedro.
He there when Jesus was on the cross? Does he know that was real?
Man.
Have faith, son.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get that out there. I'm glad I got your organic reaction.
Well, for crying out loud. You weren't there. How do you know?
Yeah. That's and the thing is, I think it's so funny too. Is because did he not listen to our interview? We are not sitting there saying we were there. We're talking about stories. We are sharing alleged accounts.
Exactly.
What other people have said. So, anyways, thank you for that advice, Pedro.
That's good. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So start saving up.
Yeah. And I don't believe that dinosaurs are real.
Well, you weren't there.
Because I wasn't there.
Well, and Mike, we need to save up for that expedition to the moon because that's a big one. We cannot talk about alien life or anything in outer space because we haven't personally investigated it.
He didn't say that too, did he?
No, I'm adding that on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure Pedro's a very nice guy.
Sure.
But and thanks for the advice. But
yeah.
All right, tell me another one. Tell me another negative.
No, I don't like how you're reacting to this. Well, I saw somebody, and he obviously didn't even listen to it. He responded to Jericho's post of the episode. He just simply wrote, "What the fuck? This is such bullshit." And so I'm like, "Oh, well, thanks for listening."
Well, sorry, it's not about wrestling every time you listen to the show.
So there you go. So
go follow Steve Coldstone, whatever his name is.
Steve Coldstone.
Whatever.
I like that one. That's a great name. I am Steve.
Well, whoever. Gold Frog or whatever that other guy is. I don't know.
Gold. Yeah, hey, pretty good. Pretty good. I'm stunned you trying to say Goldberg there. That's kind of cool, though. That's kind of cool. But we do, in all sincerity, for the most part, we got totally positive, awesome feedback to it. And so,
yeah.
And big thanks to all those guys who gave it a listen and enjoyed it. And so we had a blast. And like I said, the negative comes with the territory. So
it does. And I'm just kind of ripping on it as all in a fun way.
Yeah.
But still, damn it.
Well, Mike is sharpening his knives right now. And he's just sitting there.
I got a lot of them, too.
I know you do. Mike's slowly.
I'll bring out my Excalibur.
There you go.
It's a replica, but it's still a nice sword. Good God Almighty. So
again, just start saving up, and we're good.
Yeah.
We're good to go. Well, enough of that. Go check that out if you haven't already. Longtime listeners, or if you're new to the show, we do focus on all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious, and today is no exception. One of our favorite go-to topics, because this is an early afternoon recording. This is July 4th of July, a holiday right now, and we had a quick change of plans, or last-minute change of plans. We were going to talk about Roswell, but that got kind of thrown aside because of me. And then we just, let's talk about something that we're comfortable with, that we can just riff off of, get some good topical discussion out there, and why not Bigfoot, right? So
and we're not known for changing our minds at the last minute. But...
Never. Never. Mike. I'm sorry for cutting in there, but our last minute change led to our second appearance on Talk is Jericho. Mm-hmm. Because we were going to go with something totally outside of the haunting of Ted Bundy, and that was quite literally an hour before, half an hour before the show, and we changed our minds, went with that, and a week later we're on Jericho's show. So
he seemed to really enjoy the thought of that, and you can tell he had a good time, I believe.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. But now I want to preface this episode by saying, okay, we are going to talk about Bigfoot, the Squatch, the big hairy guy.
Yes.
I just want all the listeners to know we have not met him. So, we're going to do what we can.
That's a great point. Can we talk about him? Can we talk about Bigfoot?
Yes, we can.
I don't know. We haven't personally investigated Sasquatch sightings.
Yeah. Well.
I'm sorry. Let's let it go. Let's try.
Yeah. I don't even remember now what episode he was complaining about. Something Loch Ness or
no. I just made that up. I made that up. So again, thank you for
the Bundy thing. Yeah,
the Bundy thing. So Mike, let's dive into Bigfoot here. Not literally, because that would be gross.
Gross, smelly, and rather moist, I'm sure.
Don't say moist. God, I hate that word. On the scale of all things paranormal, Mike, we talk about ghosts, 50, 60% of the time. We talk about aliens a good chunk of the time. We talk about Bigfoot quite often. It's been a while. I don't know if you and I have just sat down and done a Bigfoot in general discussion. I know myself and my brother, when he filled in for you a couple times, we talked about Bigfoot, but that was a long time ago. I don't think you and I have really done this. Where does Bigfoot rank to you, Mike? I love throwing out these odd questions right off the bat, but in levels of importance.
Importance.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, between, like the paranormal, the Bigfoot, the ghost, the ufology, which one thing that irritates me, ever heard somebody when they talk about ufology, is it pronounced ufology or ufology?
I've always said ufology. Right.
That's what I believe it is, but I've heard other podcasts and they say ufology.
Really?
And I don't know if they do that on purpose or...
That's interesting. Maybe they do, because that seems like kind of maybe a joking way of stating it.
Either that or somebody just doesn't get it. I don't know.
I don't know.
And maybe I'm the one that doesn't get it.
Well, that's quite possible.
I'm not complaining or anything. But anyway, we have kind of mentioned this before on a previous episode quite some time ago about what the ranking and importance to me of each one of these. But Bigfoot, I know, is huge with you. It's a huge thing. I've always, I started my whole paranormal life with ghosts and that subject. And then ufology has come along just right around that same time. And in the next decade, which would have been the 70s, is when Bigfoot came along. I mean, now that's chronologically the importance and, how they came about. But importance, it's almost hard because there's so much all a part of me right now, especially since we've been doing the podcast. I mean, each one has become so important, but ufology, I think, is the biggest with me as far as, just wanting that contact. And,
right.
I've had the ghost contact, and I will accept that every time it happens because I know that's not done.
And you've had the UFO sighting.
I have had a sighting. I haven't had a close encounter of the 10th kind yet.
Now
whatever that might be.
How does Jimmer say that? I think I've seen a sighting.
Saw a sighting.
I seen a sighting. I think I seen a sighting.
Yeah, right.
Was it Jimmer from Escanaba?
Jimmer from
Escanaba.
Escanaba. Yeah.
Yeah. So out of the top three, or if you had to put it a top three and you had to rank them, UFO/alien life, ghosts, then Bigfoot. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Correct. Not meaning that Bigfoot is way less important.
Sure.
I got it. They're all pretty close together.
Well, shit. You and I are very open-minded to the idea of them all being connected.
Exactly.
In some shape or form. Well, shit. Let's start off the conversation with that one. Some simple conversation right there. Some brain fart time coming up here, maybe. Do you believe
your soundboard's not working still, right?
No, it still isn't. No, sorry.
Okay, yeah, because I was just waiting for that.
Waiting for the fart noise, sure.
Yeah. I told Mary about that. I don't know if I gotta have her hear that sometime.
She'll have to listen. It's all about timing. All about timing. The phantom fart. Yes.
Yeah.
So now I lost my train of thought now because now I'm thinking about phantom.
So
farts.
the connection, the paranormal connection.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I'm going to put this to you again, and Mike, throw questions my way as well, because I do this far too often to you. I put you on the spot. As far as Bigfoot/Sasquatch being connected to, well, I'll just say it, UFO/alien life, do you think there is a connection there in some shape or form? Or are they two totally separate entities?
I think I still need to do some thinking on that because it can go both ways with me. But there have been so many reports, and you read about people that have had the sighting of a UFO and a Bigfoot like together, like on the same day or in that same area or whatever.
A lot of people report when they say they've seen a Sasquatch. They also report seeing like orbs floating around in the wooded area of the forest there. So,
and orbs are can very much be connected with UFOs things like
Absolutely.
that. So if you see them with a Bigfoot sighting, that can be a good connector right there.
I almost think of like orbs when they're connected to UFOs. I think of them as almost like they're like little probes. You know, they're kind of they're sent out before the big ship wants to decide whether or not to pay a visit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's I think that would be a very common thing to have probes that they can send out. I mean, there's film footage or video footage, if it's real or not. You see like a disc type ship or some kind of a light, and you'll see things dropping out from the bottom of it.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, like just popping out, and then they take off. You know, is that what these orbs are? You know,
yeah, and these
very
are
possible.
You know, I guess, you know, as far as I know, I think there's a wide range as far as like the size of these orbs, how they're connected when the orbs connected to UFOs. So, but the Bigfoot connection to UFO, I know we talked about this as a Patreon topic. The alien Bigfoot connection, where we just went flat out and said, yeah, you know, for the sake of an episode, and it's it's a fascinating possibility that yes, Bigfoot is connected to the alien phenomenon. Some people even adhere to the theory that Bigfoot, hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago, were actually used by aliens to cultivate the earth, essentially, to do any number of things. This sounds crazy, sounds wacky. Who's to say? Some people say that the reason Bigfoot sightings are so rare and once they see him, they almost immediately disappear is because Bigfoot is possibly an interdimensional being. I know one of our favorite guests, Ron Moorhead, is really open to that possibility.
No, absolutely. And when we first listened to his CDs that he's had, I don't think he was so much into that theory at that time. I mean, this is something that seems to have kind of developed with him and kind of built up.
Absolutely, it has. Yeah. When Bridget and I first talked to him back in like 2014 or something, or 2015, it was solely focused on Bigfoot as a physical being. And since then, he has really, really done his own research and he has developed his own theories. And
that's what I found so fascinating when you and I talked to him, that to hear him go into that and really talk about it quite a bit.
Absolutely.
So,
very wise man. I think is safe to say.
If any of the listeners haven't heard that episode, it's well worth listening to.
Yeah, we talked to him last January, and it's always great to talk to him. Happy recent birthday to him too. He just turned a very young 80 years old, Ron Moorhead. So a belated happy birthday to Ron, because we know he's listening, right, Mike?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. So your thoughts, Mike, on perhaps quantum physics being involved here when it comes to Bigfoot and interdimensions? Where do you sit on that?
I love that thought, and I feel stronger about that, I believe. But geez, if you believe that, why can't
then the UFO connection, that is?
Yeah, but if you believe in the interdimension, I mean, how can you not, pull in the UFO connection with it? I mean,
do you? Well, okay. How do I want to phrase this one? Where do you sit on the fence as far as the idea of Bigfoot being sent here from the nether regions of space?
The nether regions?
The nether regions of space, as like investigators almost, kind of pioneers, intergalactic pioneers.
Well, intergalactic pioneer maybe, but investigators, I mean, they're only going to find out so much in the deep woods. I mean, I know there's a lot in the woods, but
well, right.
They aren't going to find out a lot about mankind or behavior, or it depends on what they're would be here to investigate and learn about.
Sure.
But I think that's what a lot of what the other species of aliens, like, well, even the Greys, I think they have their own things that they do. I mean, they have the abductors and the probers and the might be here on a scientific detail.
Is that like one of their military rankings? Is like, I've been promoted to the rank of prober.
Prober first class.
So I'm a prober first class. Absolutely.
I'm prober first class, clack two.
Clock to Nick to Barata, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Man. Now, where I sit on this is, I love the idea, similar to you, Mike. I love the idea of it possibly having the ability to, kind of break through that veil and travel through dimensions, because that blows me away, the possibility of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help myself. I definitely stand on the side of the fence of this being purely physical, perhaps an ascendant, well, not an ascendant, a descendant, an ancestral being that's been here as long as life has been here, essentially. Not
right.
Life, but as far as intelligent life. I mean, I think this, very possibly developed around the same time that we were learning to walk upright, and perhaps we went on two different evolutionary paths.
Exactly. See, I can really go with that too. If we were created by these aliens, Bigfoot could have possibly been a genetic link to what we are now, like, say, the missing link.
There you go.
If you believe in the Darwin theory, which I don't, to the point where Darwin suggests it, but the manipulation of evolution, if we can go that way, I think that Bigfoot could be a survivor of that genetic link.
So when you say manipulation of evolution, so you're kind of, if I'm understanding you correctly, because I like this idea as well, that they were perhaps, their genetic makeup was altered by perhaps higher powers. If you want to say an alien superior life form was maybe messing with our makeup thousands and thousands, perhaps millions of years ago, to kind of create all these little offshoots of.
Yeah. Well, that's where we get the commercials nowadays, messing with Sasquatch.
There you go. Well, I see. I got you.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
So all that was just a setup for a bad joke?
No, the bad joke just kind of flew in there.
Okay. I got you.
But yeah, I like that idea.
Well, we know that massive bipedal apes have lived and walked on this earth. I mean,
absolutely,
Gigantopithecus, for Christ's sake.
Proof of that, yeah.
Yeah, there's proof. There's fossil evidence.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't dug up the fossil evidence, so I hope we're okay with talking about it.
Yeah, we haven't, personally.
So, because I don't want us to come across as not credible when it comes to this. But,
yes.
Sorry, Pedro, but I'm not really. I hope that's what his name was, by the way. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm pretty certain that's what his name was. If it isn't, I apologize.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm going to vote for this Pedro.
Oh, yeah, just like Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're getting our first countdown ticker warning here.
I see that, yeah.
Well, I got set aside, Mike. I got some of my Bigfoot books to my left here. I got our personally signed book from Lauren Coleman.
Yes, that was a great day.
The Field Guide to Bigfoot and Other Mystery Primates.
Yeah.
I've got the Bigfoot book by Nick Redfern, the Encyclopedia of Sasquatch, Yeti, and Cryptid Primates. And if we get to it, or portions of it, I do have Ron Moorhead's first book, Voices in the Wilderness, right here. If we can't make some good chatter out of these references right here, then we don't deserve to do a podcast.
Right. And before we go for this moment, I apologize for sounding so wishy-washy about what theory I
oh, come on now.
I go for.
Well, it's because you feel so strongly about all of them. So.
I do. It's just each one of them sounds so it's
They have their selling points. All of them have
they do have their
points.
selling points for me, and I believe in the the interdimensional theory about many things. I believe in all these other thoughts and theories that go along with it. So it's hard to just really settle on one.
How about this? This kind of weird and wacky, wild idea just popped in my head. Let's go with the idea that we are all from the same core, like same genetic base here. And we've all kind of developed our own little offshoots here. I'm talking about like bipedal life form, intelligent bipedal life forms here. What about this? Has Bigfoot / Sasquatch, what we have called Bigfoot / Sasquatch, has that been genetically manipulated by alien life to create its ability to travel through dimensions?
Sure. And they needed it to be a specific strength and size and durability.
Ooh, hey.
And intelligence, since we know that these are extremely intelligent. But if they're so intelligent, you think they would go and stand under a waterfall for a while.
That's a great point.
And then lay out in the sun and dry off and just get some stank off them. Jeez.
Well, maybe it doesn't stink in space. Maybe it doesn't stink in other dimensions, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the next dimension smells like brute cologne. I have no idea. It's,
sure.
It's not all stinky, smelly crap. Can't be.
Yeah. But, I have never smelled one, so I don't know for sure.
That's true.
But it's got to smell like some really furry, long-haired, gooey, moist old dog.
Oh, yeah.
Just been rolling out in shit out in the buffalo field or something. I don't know.
It sounds like a dead carcass you'd find at a dump.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, if Bigfoot's listening, we apologize, because maybe you do your best to keep your personal hygiene up to snuff, but maybe not. Maybe they just don't give a shit. Why would they? There's bigger things.
Maybe they like it. Maybe it's
right.
Maybe it's a very sensual thing for them.
Hey, it could be. Yeah. The more they stink, maybe the more they attract one another.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could be.
Okay. Well, Mike, on that brilliant point that we both threw out there, let's take our first time traveling excursion. And my soundboard is not up and running right now, so this will literally be seamless. You will not tell when we leave and when we come back. And we are back after yet another successful time traveling excursion. I said it was going to be seamless, and it was. It was. It got a little bumpy there. Unfortunately, we took the wrong turn at Albuquerque that time, and took us a little longer to get back. Yeah.
Took the wrong turn and ended up peeing on your shoe, huh?
That's right, I sure did. What other notes do I have written down here? Before I get to some of these books and share some of the info in there, one note I wrote down, Mike, is malevolent or benevolent?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that when it comes to Sasquatch / Yeti / abominable snowman and whatever, the orang pendek, all that good stuff?
Well, I think it depends on. I think they can be either one, but we've mentioned before on other episodes about like Yeti, for example. That's like the more angrier cousin of the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. Seems to be more violent and more aggressive.
He's kind of the backwoods creep version of Sasquatch.
And whatever they call them in Russia, I think they're known to be more aggressive.
Well, that is what they refer to him in Russia. That's Yeti. That's how I've understood it. Am I wrong on that one?
No, you're probably right.
Well, I could be wrong. Remember, this is off the top of our heads, boys and girls. So
the American version of the Bigfoot, I think it just depends on what side of the bed he wakes up on. He can be either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't seem to be like, so aggressive in wanting to hurt anybody. I mean, they throw rocks and they've been known to throw large boulders, but they've never hit anybody that you really hear of.
Well, yeah, I know, like that Ape Canyon incident. All those miners said that they were
different. Yeah,
they were being attacked.
Right.
Even the Dyatlov Pass incident some people allege Yeti may have been involved in that, and we're talking about people who ended up dead. There could be also a UFO connection as well. That's still a mystery. Man. It's still a mystery.
Yeah, you do have those episodes like that.
Well, it's similar to ghosts, Mike. In my mind,
sure.
Because
exactly.
We talk about this tons and tons of times. If you go with if you are of the theory that ghosts / spirits are the remaining energy, maybe intelligent energy of those who have passed away, then you would tend to believe that they would retain their personalities in some form of their personality in their leftover consciousness out there. So if they were a dick in real life, they're going to be a dick in the afterlife,
Right.
Kind of similar here, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, we both subscribe to the idea that this is an intelligent being. So that would maybe lend credence to it having a personality, and therefore it's like you said, if it wakes up crabby, it's going to throw rocks at you.
Yeah. And what about the legend of Boggy Creek? I mean, that was, based supposedly on a true story, and that was nasty.
Well, and Albert Ostman, his infamous story being allegedly kidnapped by a Bigfoot, and being hauled away with this family.
Carried for miles in his sleeping bag.
In like a burlap sack or whatever the hell it was. And he manages to escape by making them eat his snuff. And so they got all like sick to their stomach.
Yeah. But, there was it's not like they were seeming to want to hurt him or kill him or anything.
That's true.
I'm sure the gunny sack ride wasn't a lot of fun, but
couldn't have been. I'm sure you got a few scrapes and bumps and bruises from that one. So
yeah. But I don't know.
Well, we can't discount the alleged stories of Sasquatch attacks.
Right.
But I personally lean towards it being a more innocuous being, not necessarily 100% harmless. As far as I'm sure it can be pretty damn intimidating, and if it wants to scare you out of your socks, it can do that. But as far as wanting to attack, again, it's possible, but I think the majority of them are peaceful. So
yeah, Harry and the Hendersons type.
Sure, yeah.
Why not?
Right. Yeah, I agree. R.I.P. Kevin Peter Hall, right? R.I.P.
Yeah,
Kevin Peter Hall, and Don Amici, by the way. Not Don Amici. But yeah, that's Don Amici.
Yeah, Don Amici was in there. Yeah. John Lithgow, but he's still alive.
He is still alive. Yes, he is. Yes, all 6'6" of them, or whatever the hell he is.
Yeah,
he's a huge man. Very huge man. Okay, another note I have here. This is going pretty well, Mike, by the way. These off-the-cuff discussions always turn out pretty decent, I think.
Yeah, Pedro wouldn't think so, but we're doing okay. I know. Pedro's going to be an ongoing Paranormally Zone.
Should we make him like a meme, maybe, or we won't make a meme out of it, but he'll be a reference on the show.
Yeah,
how's that?
Pedro says.
I gotta find a soundbite or something. I'll say, hey, what do you think, Pedro? And then I'll say, you guys stink. Okay, thanks, Pedro. Now another note I have written down here, Mike, is hundreds / thousands of years of sightings. Now, as far as thousands of years of documented sightings, we don't have that, but we can go back to the early 1800s as far as early documented reports of encounters.
But also, thinking of it this way, aren't there ancient petroglyphs that depict Sasquatch-like beings?
Sure. No, 100%.
And that could be a point of thinking thousands of years or
now, is
2,000 years, 3,000 years, whatever.
The idea of these hundreds of years of sightings, I get it. It wouldn't hold up in the proverbial court. I get that. It's circumstantial evidence at best. That's why that doesn't hold up in court. But you have to. That adds weight to it. I mean, To me personally, it does. And I'm the supposed skeptic of the show. I'm very open-minded. But has this just been thousands of years of mass hallucinations? I don't think so.
There's no way.
I don't think so. Yeah.
And how many generations of Native American record keeping by passing the knowledge down generation to generation.
Yeah.
I mean, I take great, what's the word?
Pride?
I have great respect for.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
For that. I mean, and,
No, I agree with you, Mike. I absolutely agree with you. I don't know if we actually got an answer out of you when I asked you this right off the bat, when I said, why is Bigfoot important to you? Did I even ask you that? I don't remember.
Probably.
Well, yeah, briefly, why, I have my answer too, but I want to ask you as well. Why is Bigfoot the potential reality? Well, we believe the reality that is Bigfoot. Why is that important to you, Mike Carpenter?
Why is that important to me? Well, I love a great mystery of deciding whether I'm going to believe in something or not, just on faith. And the more you hear about a subject like that, the more you build your belief, and the more you take into account what you're going to throw out, what you're going to believe. And once that that pile of things that you believe starts getting bigger than the pile that you throw out, you start building a passion for something. And it's, that's more like what I would call these things, these paranormal things, whether it's Bigfoot or ufology or the paranormal of ghosts. They've all turned into such a passion. That's the importance of these things. It's one of my passions.
There you go.
It's something that I want to learn more about, because I think there's always something to learn about them. Mm-hmm. The more you dig into it, the more you're going to learn, and the more you're going to have that thought of, is it real or not, and form that opinion.
That's I think you nailed it right there. That kind of took my thunder a bit, because that was where Mike just sticks his tongue out.
Yeah, Mary's making. Get out of here.
Mary's making obscene gestures to Mike when he's trying to record the podcast.
Yeah, she's never done that before. God dang it.
See, now I totally lost my train of thought here. God darn it. No, I think you nailed it, though, because it's important to always have an open mind. That's a simple answer to me, and this important, or a simple answer for me. It's important to always strive for the unknown, and to accept the fact that we do not, and quite frankly, will not know everything. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
We got to keep looking. You got to keep searching. You got to keep finding answers to the best of your ability, and you can't block it out, man. And you can't ignore these sightings, these reports.
Keep digging and keep learning the stories that come along, and collect them in your brain, and hope for that time where it's not a mystery anymore, and it's not, it's becomes fact.
This becomes
science has
accepted.
To acknowledge it.
Yep, it becomes a part of, like you said, of what they teach at school, maybe. So
well,
I don't know if I'm maybe going too far there.
Questionable.
That's questionable. All right, Mike, it's time to do some little. It's story time, or not necessarily story time. It's time when Patrick annoys everybody by reading clips. Reading paragraphs. I opened up to page 144 of Lauren Coleman's Field Guide to Bigfoot. And this is a very, very, very interesting book here. Every chapter basically focuses on different subspecies of, well, for lack of a better term, Bigfoot and all these other mystery primates. This chapter is labeled Oceania, actually. And that's referring to the region, Oceania region. And the way I'm showing this to Mike, the way that he has this laid out here, he'll have like the drawing, the physical description, the stature. And I pointed right to the genitals right there. That's some hairy Sasquatch.
Got a little hairy penis.
He does. Look at that little guy. Yeah.
And a great big bulbous head. And he's carrying a club.
he might fall.
Jeez.
He might fall over with the weight of that head. He has nothing to balance the weight out towards the bottom.
He's got Fred Flintstone feet, maybe. I don't know.
There you go.
Needs a good platform.
But yeah, of course, immature Mike starts giggling at the drawing of
Well, when you put your finger right on it.
I did. I put it right on it. Maybe that was subconscious.
And you're talking about Mary making obscene gestures.
Say, oh yeah, I can out obscene you anytime. I'm going to start pointing to dangling Bigfoot wangs. So
Yeah.
that's good. All right, anyways. And okay, Mike, try not to laugh again though. So
Okay.
they have the description.
I'm done.
They have the illustration, and then they have like a page-long description, and
Right.
they share some brief accounts, encounters. This one, region, Oceania, class, true giant, type, Changara. I'm going to butcher these pronunciations. Yay ho, yay ho.
Yay! Oh!
And that one, Koyo Krioan. Distinguishing characteristic, Mike pointed it out, handheld club.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his tiny penis.
Not his tiny Bigfoot wang, no. And this descriptive incident took place in August 1972 in the Olia Range of South Australia. The witness was Steve Moncrief. So this book is filled with stuff like this. And it goes on. It says, Aboriginal people still believe that the fabled Tiangara, or Great Hairy Man, still inhabits the Nullarbor Plains of the South Australian outback. Other Australians, like Steve Moncrief,
And Paul Hogan.
That's right, the crocodile hunter. Not crocodile hunter, Crocodile Dundee. He is also a fossil hunter, and he holds on to these beliefs as well. One day, in fact, old Steve Moncrief was exploring a dry creek bed near Yarl Lakes on the edge of the Great Victorian Desert. When, there he goes, Mike, he detected that very foul smell.
Yeah. It's kind of a humid, moist smell.
Humid, moist. Stop with moist, by the way. Damn it.
It hangs in the air.
Yes, a bit pungent, strong to the nostrils. Looking up, he saw a huge hairy creature observing him from a high bank. He says it stood about 20 feet away and more than 10 feet tall. That's huge.
Smelling like heated marmalade.
10 feet tall with a 2-inch penis. Maybe should I title
Kind
that?
of a citrusy, pungent smell. Anyway, go ahead.
Should I put some slang of genitalia in the title of this podcast? I don't think that'll go over very well. Pedro wouldn't like that for sure.
No.
Now standing 10 feet away, or 20 feet away, more than 10 feet tall, it was, as Mike observed, holding a large stone club. Now Mr. Moncrief and this creature stared at each other for a moment before Moncrief packed up his geologist pick and began to back away towards his Land Rover, which was about 100 yards away. But the creature, whose genitals clearly identified it as male, despite its size,
Does it really say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, jeez.
Hey,
Okay.
Warren Coleman has no problem talking or writing about genitals.
Right.
Sasquatch, that is. Identified it as a male, snarled, jumped down to the creek bed, and began running towards Moncrief. With the frightening creature closing in, Moncrief turned suddenly and hurled the pick at the face of the quote-unquote manimal. As the Mike finds that funny.
Hurl it at its face. I can just picture this giant thing grabbing its face and screaming like a little girl.
Well, listen. Just continue.
Okay.
Just continue to listen here. As the creature clutched its face in pain and howling like a little girl. No, I added that part. Moncrief staggered to his Land Rover and drove off, never to return. Unbeknownst to the fossil hunter, encounters with the Tiangara and footprint finds measuring up to 20 inches in length had been reported in the same area for 2 years previously. Now, going back to 1989, a 13-foot tall hairy giant was spotted, of course, wielding a huge wooden club again. And this one was spotted by 2 carloads of bush trekkers near Etaduna in South Australia. So they were like, 2 big old trucks filled with some Aussie friends, and they all spotted him. Creature, again, the male, was standing on a creek bed near to the roadside, but by the time the observers decided to return to the spot to track down the creature, however, it had disappeared. So that's just one of many, many, many interesting encounters listed in this book.
Crazy.
And not all of them have drawings that Mike would find humorous. So I just want to go there.
But no, this thing or these creatures, they didn't show any malevolence or anything. They were just standing there looking at these people.
Well,
didn't make any movement to attack or anything.
Well,
and then this guy throws a pick at its face.
Well, no, it jumped down, snarled, and started running after him. Did you not listen to what I was saying?
Well.
Now, if I had a 10-foot tall naked thing with its thing swinging between its legs, running after me with a club, I think I'd throw whatever I had in my hand at it too.
It clutches its face in pain, and from underneath its hands, you hear, "Asshole!"
I know exactly.
God!
I just want to say hi.
I just wanted to shake your hand.
Just starts wailing away,
crying like a little kid. I just wanted to offer you a peanut.
That's actually the reason behind those audio recordings you get when you hear that.
Yeah. That sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I've been practicing my bobo.
Yeah, and you translated it means free peanuts.
Okay, you said peanuts, right? Good God.
Yeah.
Mike, you threw me off the rails there with it. I just opened to another page.
Chestnuts.
Now, are you gonna laugh at that drawing right there? See that little guy?
Well, it looks like a wee man from the old country.
Yeah, that's about 4 foot tall.
Mm.
This one, this is from Latin America. The class is Proto-Pygmy. The type Alux, A-L-U-X. Distinguishing characteristic, long jet black beard. And there it is, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a little person type of being. So that's... no, this isn't... I'm just skipping down to what it says here. But there is a close association between the Alux, what I'm referring to, and Mayan sites. Located in the front of the main temple of many Mayan ruins are tiny stone houses with 3-foot-high doorways. I haven't visited these houses, so I cannot talk about them any longer. But I can read about them.
Yes.
It says archaeologists say that these are votary shrines. V-O-T-A-R-Y. Votary shrines, while modern Maya claim they are, in fact, the homes of the Alux. The Alux, these little 4-foot-tall beings. That's interesting.
It is.
Now, this is the classic one right here, and we'll move on here. This is classic Bigfoot Sasquatch, class New Giant region, North America. Most famous incident, of course, Bluff Creek, 1967. And, it's about 6.5 foot tall. The female Sasquatch right there.
Yep.
That's the one that we're definitely focusing on.
Yep. The turned head, the swaying breasts, and the rippling muscles on the legs.
The pendulant breasts.
Yeah. The pendulous, pungent breasts that are moist underneath.
Lord. Yeah, I
this
suppose
is
they
turned
would.
into more like a Patreon content.
No, that's fine. Hey, this is what you get on Patreon, by the way. So this is going to be flat out. We need to get an episode out, Mike. We need to take advantage. We need to take advantage of the Jericho steam. So we're talking about Sasquatch genitalia. That's what we're doing today. All right. Now, this one's interesting. This is from Asia, and we'll move on here to the next book, or we'll do whatever. This is class New Giant, type Jin Sung / Big Yeti. Distinguishing characteristic, the large square head. This descriptive incident took place in March 1942 during World War II. I'll fly through this. Says, during World War II, 7 inmates slipped out of a Siberian labor camp. I've heard this story before. And began a 4,000-mile escape to India. The 1956 book, The Long Walk, tells of this incredible trek to freedom and includes a first-hand account by Slavomir Rauix of an encounter with a pair of what they called abominable snowmen. There were just 5 survivors as the men neared the end of their journey in the foothills of the Himalayas near the border with India. While descending a large mountain, they saw, quote-unquote, 2 moving black specks in the snowfield below them about a quarter mile away. As they approached and reached the edge of the bluff, Rawicks and his companions found they were just 12 feet above and 100 yards away from these beasts. Now, this is a quote. They were enormous, and they walked on their hind legs. Rawicks, using his military training, estimated the animals were not much under 8 feet tall, though one was a few inches shorter than the other. Their shoulders sloped down to a powerful chest, and their long arms had wrists reaching to their knees. Heads were squarish from the back, had a straight line from the crown and to the shoulders. Reddish in appearance, the beasts came from their The reddish appearance of the beasts, came from their rusty brown hair, which formed a tight, close fur against their bodies, but this was intermingled with long, loose, straight hairs hanging downwards, which had a slight grayish image. Now, they watched these beasts for almost 2 hours. So that's just one particular account from 7 escaped inmates. Now, if you were on the run, if you were escaped from prison, if you were a prisoner of war and you busted out, would you bother to make up a story like that?
No, but when would they be able to tell the story without getting caught?
Right.
Would it be later after the statute of limitations is run out, or what?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, when I was escaping from my prison.
Exactly. Let's sit down. Let's stop escaping for a moment, and let's sit in one place for 2 hours, and let's make up a story that we saw these big, hairy, bulbous beasts below us. And I don't know if they were pungent or not. It was cold up there in the Himalayas, so.
And they were moist and steamy in the cold. I'll stop saying that word.
And we closely observed one or more dropping trow onto the snow, and it slowly... Okay, I'll stop it. I'll stop it. We're scientific here. We are not appeasing people like Pedro right now by being silly, Mike. Silly.
I hope, I'm sure Pedro isn't a listener of ours. I mean, he heard the Jericho show, I'm sure.
Right. So
it's not like he's listening now to us, but if by chance he did... Pedro, I'm sorry. It's not like I'm ripping on you.
No, not at all.
But you just became a part of this episode.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Pedro.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Oh man, this is just flying by here, Mike. We got a little bit of time left. How do we want to wrap this up, Mike? Without there's so much stuff that I would love to. Tap into here. That's interesting. I just happened to open up my other book here, the Bigfoot book. And the first picture I see is a 19th century photo of Spanish dancer Julia Pastrani, who suffered from genetic condition of hyperplasia.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, gave her, unfortunately, an ape-like appearance. There's a picture right there.
Right. I've seen that picture.
Yes.
Not unlike the dog boy of Mexico.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They made a lot of money on the like the sideshow circuits and everything.
Yeah, 100% they did. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but it was during the time that Paul Duchaillou. You might not recognize that name, but Paul Duchaillou is the guy who really brought forth finally hardcore physical evidence of the existence of the mountain gorilla. He devoted his life to bringing back specimens of these, and put them on display, and became a huge hit. Because that was fantastic news, Mike, to the general public.
Sure.
It's this thing really exists. Holy cow! But one of his competitors, though, seeing that they were losing interest in what he had on display, and I'm drawing a blank on this guy's name, but he had one of these unfortunate souls who had that hyperplasia, and he displayed her as a missing link type thing, and he ended up marrying her. And
I've heard that story. Yeah.
Yes, and he had children with her, and I believe she may have died during childbirth. And I think
that's true.
He simply just basically taxidermied her body and kept it on display, and it just kept on going.
Yep. And all the children look like lemurs. Sorry. He kept him behind the stuffed body of his lady in a large cage where they swung back and forth. And
I don't know why that struck me as
they had one of those little machines next to the cage where you put a quarter in and you get little nuggets of animal food that you can feed them.
Oh shit! That struck a funny bone for me. I don't know why. That's why am I envisioning, like, when he introduces them? These are my children, Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. I don't know why that popped in my brain for some reason.
Larry Lemur, Daryl Lemur, and Daryl Lemur.
See, the other Daryl, we emphasized the D. The other one, we not so much. And I just another random. This is not someone who's suffering from hyperplasia. He just has glorious hair. Do you want
the Mikio
Kaku? The Mikio Kaku, yes. So, man, we're running out of time. Gosh, we have to do like a part 2 of this. This is such a, in all sincerity, and we have a good time with this, and we goof around because we have to. You just have to. This is a topic that I am passionate about. I have been since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Well, you live in the right part of the country. I mean, very close to it anyway.
You would think so, man. You know, again, I referenced him earlier. My brother, you know, he lives up even in better areas, you know, north of Duluth, and he had he shared with me those photos of, I don't know what the hell caused these tracks, these impressions in the snow. They're up. You can go look at them on our Patreon page. I don't know what could have caused them, unless something was jumping, you know, in 6 foot, you know, spans, I guess. I don't know. It's really intriguing. I'm not doing it justice as to what it looks like. It's
very interesting photograph.
It is.
Definitely worth checking out and kind of give your opinion on what you think.
Well, that area is a hotbed for sightings, believe it or not.
Oh, sure. Well, I believe that, yeah.
Sticking in the family, even my niece who is listening right now. Hi, Chloe. Best wishes to you. I hope you liked my Depeche Mode tattoo design I sent to you. She has a sighting. She's seen a sighting. She saw something years ago at night driving either to or from home. I can't remember the exact story. She's talked about wanting to share this.
She was driving, or the sighting driving?
Sasquatch was not driving anything.
Okay.
No, so
it's like in a
he's on a little moped.
A very mottled, colored golf cart.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. No, she saw something in the ditch at night that she can't explain, and she's talked, but she's wanted to share her sighting on our podcast here for several years, so we have to get around to doing that. Yeah,
well, you've had her on just like we've had my niece on that we talked about having.
Man, talk about just fantastic paranormal stories.
Yep, I know.
Trust us, we plan on doing all of this. It's just a matter of getting to it. And I feel guilty
every time I see something on Facebook or whatever from
here.
Sorry, Rachel.
There was someone when we released the Curse of Titanic episode. We got a new follower on Twitter for a Titanic podcast. Actually, it's called Titanic Talk Line. So it's really cool girl. And she and her friends from back in the day had a very odd paranormal encounter, and she sent me a very detailed, long message that she has given us permission to share on the podcast. So
cool.
Let's do that. You know, guys, if you're listening right now and you have any sort of odd encounters, paranormally speaking, any weird, crazy sightings, anything out of the ordinary, and you want to talk about them, send them our way. We'd love to share your stories.
Yeah. There is, in my notes and everything, I have been writing down some things from some of these new listeners that have had very, very recently. And I can't remember the name, but I have it written down.
Yes.
This town that this person lives in, it's a town full of odd occurrences.
Nice.
And sorry if you're listening, I can't remember your name, but like I said, I have it. And it sounds like we could really get some interesting stories from him.
Was that the Haunted Alone?
That
was someone else. That was someone else.
That's
Okay.
another one that we're going to really do some work with, and they have agreed to be on. They do a lot of investigating, and they have a YouTube channel that you should check out. Checking out their videos, and they're pretty awesome.
So yeah, so we get a couple nice plugs there for a Titanic talk line and Haunted Alone. So go check them out.
And they have agreed. Haunted Alone has agreed to be on the show and share their stories, which would be a lot of fun.
Well, Mike, we got very little time remaining. Your final thoughts, if any, and try not to think about genitalia, you sick man. You genitalia. Bigfoot is real. I'm going to say that right now. I believe in it 100%. All offshoots of Bigfoot, I'm not necessarily 100% certain on, but I'm absolutely open-minded to it. I'm like, for instance, that Alux, the little people there. I don't know about stuff like that, stories, of the little folk.
Yeah,
but they could very well be real.
Absolutely, other cultures and other countries, they have. Why can't they have something that's indigenous there, that like what we have here? And it's something different from what we think of as our mysterious Bigfoot. Well, Mike,
I recently finished that classic book, The Trail of Tears, and
I would love to. Yeah, you listened to that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
There is
amazing.
There is a
horrifying.
A good portion. Yeah, it is absolutely. There is a good portion of that talks about the legend, the Native American legend of the little people, of these little people who basically live in the hills, live up, and they come down to visit. They come down. They're playful, but yet they also can be warning you of any number of things.
Yeah,
and I mean I encourage you, if you haven't read that book, the book is a wonderful history lesson anyways, but just that little portion for someone who's passionate about the paranormal, that was really interesting to learn about that. Look into it. The legend of the little people. It's kind of creepy, but I'm open-minded to it. And I again, Bigfoot, Sasquatch as we know it, which Mike and I believe was recorded on film in 1967 in the Patterson film. No doubt about it to us that is real, that is legit. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I've been fascinated with since I was a wee little boy. And damn it, I'm going to go investigate it. I am going right now when we're done recording. I'm going to drive 5 miles down the road, stand out in the woods and say, I'm looking for you, and then go home.
He is going to do that like he's wanted to do since he was a wee little boy, and now he's going to do it as a wee little man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, we just got done. I grilled some burgers and brats and corn on the cob for the kids and Bridget's parents. They came out for 4th of July just a couple hours ago, and I made Bridget's mom laugh quite a bit because I overheard Bridget saying something to her mom. Bridget said, "Yeah, I just don't like big things." When I said, "Yeah, that's why she's with me."
I just had the flash of that giant hairy ape
Nope.
with a tiny little penis.
She don't like it. She no like it. No way, man. So
I have no idea what your anatomy is with Sam's clothes, and so I'm not going to say anymore, and I don't want to.
I'm just talking about my 5'7", 140 pounds of pure fury I have going right now.
Pure fury.
Arrgh. Yeah.
Pure fury.
Definitely not furry. Not furry at all. So, well, Mike, we're running out of time. Thank you again, buddy, for making this work. I know you had a last-minute change of plans, so I hope you have a good 4th of July, my buddy.
Yeah, you too, and everybody else. I hope that when you do hear this, I hope you had a great 4th of July.
Absolutely. So, I think that's it, man. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Except one more time. Sorry, Pedro.
And if you enjoy what you're listening to, again, this was a pretty silly version of what we usually do. We always have a good dose of humor, but today was, Maybe a little more than usual, maybe not. But
maybe too much.
If you enjoy what you're listening to, if you enjoy talking about all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious, check out our Patreon page if you want to support the podcast. We'd appreciate it so much. We'd love to see you there. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month and no obligations. You don't like it, you pay $1 and then you can leave. So we think
you don't get your money back though.
No, you don't. So we think you'll enjoy it though. We have art giveaways in the. They're going on right now. Actually, they might expire next week or within a couple days. Anyhow, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Have a good day, Mike. Until next week, what do our paranormal pals need to do?
Just a wee bit of a peace out.